This programme has learned that fines for motorists entering bus lanes in Wolverhampton could generate £4 million this year for the City Council. The controversial penalty charges were introduced last month and they've been generating income of £90,000 a week. The local authorities facing calls for the fines to be scrapped. Here's our Black Country reporter, Ben Godfrey.
She spotted a gap and she's going for it. People in Heathtown tell us it's only a matter of time before there's a serious accident here. Drivers doing a legal U-turn have little choice but to creep into the bus lane.
And if anything's coming up on the outside lane, they've got to stay in the bus lane to get back over. It's a dangerous move now.
Cameras were installed at the start of June. Wolverhampton City Council gave drivers 2 weeks before introducing fines for illegally entering bus lanes. In just a fortnight, 3,000 drivers have had these £60 fines, earning the council potentially up to £180,000. Now, if that rate continues, they're looking at an income of around £4 million a year.
We're trying to take a common sense approach, so it's only where people are flagrantly flouting the law and using the bus lanes that an enforcement notice will be issued. Where people have to cross or enter a bus lane for safety reasons, then that's fine and a notice will not be issued.
On Piper's Row, there are signs showing cameras in operation, but the City Council hasn't actually installed them yet, and drivers are using the bus lane. This businessman says customers are confused and are staying away.
That is the problem with Wolverhampton at the moment. I think it feels like there's a war against cars, and it's kind of, they're biased towards public transport.
They're in debt up to the necks, and they're trying to raise as much money as they can. And to me, this is just a cynical ploy.
The City Council says this is about safety and not money. More cameras will be introduced and revenue from fines will go back into improving the road network. Ben Godfrey, BBC Midlands Today, Wolverhampton.
Well, joining us from our studios in Bristol now is Pete Williams from the RAC. Good evening to you, Mr. Williams. Is this just another way to squeeze money out of motorists, do you think?
Well, potentially. I think there is a real risk that if the motorist is feeling like a cash cow and with this high volume of fines actually being issued, the council could come into criticism. The vast majority of drivers are law-abiding. They don't wish to pick up fines in this way, and it does really beg the question, are they signed correctly? Is the road layout correct? And does the local authority have the due sort of discretion? Because clearly with this number of motorists actually being fined, it does beg the question, is it really fair?
And what do you think of the whole concept of bus lanes?
Well, interestingly, Liverpool has actually done away with bus lanes altogether, a bold step by their mayor, and they've actually seen things improve in terms of levels of congestion. We'd certainly like to see other local authorities potentially test it, but I think most motorists recognise why the bus lanes are there, they do respect them, and therefore to see such a high number of drivers actually being penalised does question why, how it's actually being applied here.
Do you reckon they work then?
Well, they usually do. Now, clearly, with so many people being prosecuted here, there has to be something wrong with the system, or the Wolverhampton Council are over fining motorists, I think.
Pete Williams, thank you very much indeed. Well, you've been having your say on this. Here are a few posts from our Facebook page. Mike Bond got in touch. He says, my policy is not to drive in them at any time of day. That way, you're sure of no ticket. But Peter Crowther complains about the amount of signs drivers are supposed to read at the same time and concentrate on driving. He thinks it's just cynical and money-grabbing. Cars should not drive in the bus lane. Simple, says Sonia Wilkins. She thinks it's to encourage people to use public transport rather than use their cars. While Kevin Hill posts, it's a sneaky, sly council trick to make some easy money. Sometimes you could be in a bus lane without realising when there's heavy traffic. And finally, Daniel Conlon says, oddly enough, I haven't driven in a bus lane. Lo and behold, I've not had to pay any fees. Thanks to all of you who took the trouble to get in touch. Thank you. It's been confirmed that